Good evening. Call this meeting to order. Welcome to the City Council meeting, October 22nd. Roll call, please, Ann.
Mayor White,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rodriguez,
Here.
Councilmember Martinez, Councilmember Ortiz.
Here.
Next. Excuse council absences. This agenda item allows City Council to excuse the absences of council members not present at the meeting. All council members are present, and the item will be skipped. We'll go to public comments on this item. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to City Council comments and action. Did we hear from Councilwoman Martinez? Motion? Okay. No motion, so we will have an excuse there. Go to item D, invocation by Pastor Inez Lugo.
Hi. And Cristal is translation for me.
Perfect, thank you.
Colosenses 1:3 dice, siempre orando por vosotros damos gracias a Dios Padre de nuestro Señor Jesucristo. Colosenses.
We give thanks to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, praying always for you.
Gracias a Dios por este día y gracias por su amor y su sabiduría. Bendice al concilio de la ciudad, al departamento de policía, a los bomberos, a las agencias y ayuda a todos en Greenfield. En el nombre de Jesús, amén.
Thanks be to God for this day, for his love and his wisdom. Bless the city council, the police department, the fire department, and any other agency in the city of Greenfield. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda review.
No changes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Public comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the council on any items not on closed session, consent calendar, public hearings, and city council business. Under state regulations, no action can be taken on non-agenda items, including issues raised under this agenda item. Members of the public should be aware of this when addressing council regarding items not specifically referenced on this agenda. Do we have any public comments this evening?
My husband is translation for me.
Hello.
Mi nombre es Inés Lugo,
So this is Pastor Inez Lugo
en la Methodist Church.
from the United Methodist Church.
Y este sábado nosotros estamos trabajando con COPA.
So this Saturday, the church is working with COPA,
COPA es la organización
which stands for Communities Organized for Relational Power in Action.
y sábado tenemos a la senadora Ana Caballero
So this Saturday, we will have Senator Ana Caballero
y algunos supervisores,
and also some other supervisors,
así como líderes de nuestros gobiernos,
as well as other leaders from the government,
tanto de Santa Cruz como de Monterrey.
from Santa Cruz and Monterey.
Dejé por ahí las invitaciones
So I left some invitations,
y nos gustaría verles a ustedes en ese evento.
and we would like to see all of you, or any of you, if possible, in this event.
Sé que es un poco de muy poco tiempo, pero esperemos poderlos ver allá.
I know it's such a short notice, but we would like to see you over there.
Y también algunos creo que lo recibieron por correo, por email,
And I think some of you may have received the invitation or the information by email.
pero está aquí en papel ya la invitación
But I have left some copies here with the information as well
y
as the
también el
invitation.
flyer.
And the flyers as well.
Great.
Estamos trabajando muy duro para el sur del condado.
So we are working hard for South Monterey County.
Igual, gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in chambers? Seeing that, I do see one hand raised.
Gabby?
Good evening, City Council members. I just wanted to again bring up this issue that I've talked now three meetings. The non-responsive from the mayor to address this issue again. Do want its sole responsibility of anything that happens with the city council, and this is in regards to me blocking my amendment right to my voice. So City Council member Martinez has still continued to block me. And again, there hasn't been anybody who's responded to this or addressed this issue. Again, the lack of transparency undermines organization success, and true transparency includes access to protecting and sharing information. I know that, Ariana, you've been wonderful in a lot of instances. I will give you props. You stood up to justice multiple times, but I haven't heard from you in regards to doing the right thing and being transparent and following your own guidelines, your own rules that you guys set with each other. You did a great job of, advocating for Tipton, to doing the right thing. I don't want to have to, threaten the city to sue to get like an answer or to address my issue, because again, this is what you guys are showing the community. And as far as, Adriana, you've been there for a year and you are such an amazing woman in your professional and in your home life. You've done a great job of raising very strong women. I just wish you would bring that to the city. You have a lot to offer in a year. I wish you still have to the end of the year, do something amazing, do an event that would benefit Greenfield. And for the mayor as well, what kind of event have you provided the community, given your knowledge in so many different areas as a businessman, as a professional? What have you contributed to Greenfield? So those are my comments for today.
Thank you very much for your comments. Looks like we have another one.
Laura?
Good day, City Council. My name is Laura. I just have a question regarding the rec center. Any new updates on the rec center? I believe the deadline is coming up and there still hasn't been any movement over there in 12 and Apple. Could we get an update for maybe next City Council meeting? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no other public comments, I'll move this to comments from City Council. Councilwoman Ortiz.
Good evening. I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I really don't have too much to share right now. I'm catching up. But I would like to say something to our former council member, Andrew Tipton. I know you're not here tonight, so I'm hoping that maybe you're listening. And if not, maybe you can watch the recording afterwards. And I just wanted to let the community know that, it's very rare when you can find people that are really committed to the community. Some of you aren't aware of that. Mr. Tipton has been being involved in our city for over 19 years already. He first started off at the fire board, and then he went to planning commission, then he served on city council. And I find that highly commendable, because a lot of times people come up here, and take seats on council, to further their political careers. It's, very rare when you find people who are actually just doing the work for their community, and he was one of those people that did it for the community and for nothing else. He served on several boards, and was very lucky that he was instrumental in helping me to find my place here and, help me out with different things that were going on, questions to ask, how to go about certain things. And it's really important when you first sit here on the dais and, you really don't have a lot of experience. And for somebody to take you under their wing and show you these different things it's a blessing. And to Drew, I really hope that you don't let what happened deter you from being involved in the community, and that you find, another place to lay your, to do some work in. And I just hope that you stay involved, and just know that you are appreciated for the years that you were here. And and may God bless you. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Good evening. I wanted to start off with the Harvest Festival and just saying that I am sad that I was actually not able to attend this year, but I heard nothing but good things from everybody that did attend, and all the posts that I tried to catch up on to see how it all went looked amazing, and just congratulations to everybody who had any part of putting that on. Again, our rec center, I think, is just our whole rec and community engagement departments are amazing in what they're able to pull off, and how that has just grown so much in such a short time. It's such a big event, and all of the entertainment and the different stages and all of that. It was amazing to see, even if I wasn't able to see it sadly in person this year. So I wanted to acknowledge the work of everybody that put that on. Next, I did want to say that I did ask in my last meeting with City Manager Wood about providing a rec center update to the public, because we know what's going on with that, but we acknowledge and recognize that the public doesn't necessarily know everything going on with that, and we want to make sure, of course, that we're keeping our community involved. So I do hope we're able to get that on our next agenda. The other thing that I had requested also be discussed in the next meeting is the funding on the ADA equipment that I've been asking about, that we get an item about, at least to get the discussion going about potentially funding that, or how we would fund that. The other thing that I wanted to say is that representation and our seats up here aren't just about putting on events. I hear the community feedback. I appreciate that. I've been talking to City Manager Wood about events. I do want to speak on this. I don't choose to respond to every comment that's made, but I do want everybody to know that that's important to me as well. While I haven't put on a community event for everybody, I have been talking about it almost every time I meet with City Manager Wood, because it is important to me to connect with the community and have those engagement opportunities, and not just wait for them, but actually create them. But I do want to share with everybody, because something else was said several months ago that people close to me know actually did bother me, as politicians up here, or politicians in air quotes, a lot of things are said that, sometimes do get under our skin. And one of those comments, to be completely honest, was about my attendance up here. There was a comment, just a very general comment made, like, every time I come, one of the two of them isn't here. That was the comment. And that got under my skin, because I know that I am here a lot. I've had 6 surgeries, many of them major surgeries, while I've been on council, in my short time on council. And out of, I think we're at maybe 48 or 49 meetings now, I've missed 4. And one of those was a special meeting, so only 3. And the rest of the time I've been here. So my commitment to this community is serious. I am dedicated to this role. Although I haven't done community events, what I have done is I'll continue to show up here to make the difficult decisions that we're tasked to make while we're up here. So I do just want to say those things. Believe me, once I am a little bit better in my health and I feel like myself a lot more, I look forward to doing those things. And lastly, I just want to end with, our election is Tuesday, and without, of course, any political statements, I want to say how important it is to be involved in our democratic process, regardless of where you stand on issues, regardless of who you plan to vote for. It is so important that we take advantage of this amazing privilege that we have here to vote and to make our voices heard. So please encourage everybody around you. Get out there and vote. I've been making sure that I voted since I was 18. My daughters have voted since they turned 18. I try to get their friends to register. And it's never about who you're voting for. It's get out there and be part of that process, because so many other countries don't have that privilege, and we're so blessed that we do. So that is all.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you very much. I have a few things tonight. I wanted to let everyone know that Jamba Juice is having a grand opening this Thursday, October 24th. Free drinks from 10 o'clock with presentations by Chris Lopez and myself at 10:30. Come by and check it out if you haven't already. It's at the Travel Center on Walnut Avenue. Also, we have the Sugar Skull contest and a Halloween decorating contest going on. Please submit your entries by phone to 831-333-6026. Sugar skulls can be picked up at the Science Center if you'd like to decorate one. And the cash prizes are $40 for the Sugar Skull contest and $100 for the house contest. And those will all be judged by council. So there'll be 4 awards for that. I also wanted to thank everyone who worked so hard on the Harvest Festival. I really liked the big Harvest Festival sign and the Greenfield sign. Lots of people taking pictures of the sign, so showing a lot of community spirit and being very proud of their community. It was also a lot of fun for all the residents. Remind everyone about the Community Day of Thanks on November 24th. Free Thanksgiving dinner for up to 400 people is being sponsored by the community. It's being held at the Memorial Hall. You can get more information on helping out or attending at a dayofthanks24@gmail.com. And let's see, lastly, the Rotary Club is holding a community yard sale November 23rd. That's at the Memorial Hall. If you would like to sell your items, please reach out to Shirley Gilliam or myself to reserve your spot. There will be lots of bargains for sale. And it's just a few weeks before the holidays, so if you need a great gift idea, come and check it out. And I also just wanted to continue with what Mayor Pro Tem said. Remember to vote. Election's in 2 weeks. Ballots are being turned in now, so please participate. Thank you very much. All right, we'll go on to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and may be approved by one action of the City Council unless a request for removal for discussion or explanation is received prior to the time Council votes on the motion to adopt. And I'll entertain public comments on consent. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to Council.
I don't want to have full discussion. I just want to acknowledge, because I know not everybody reads those reports in full, but the fire report that was included, 1,321 calls that our department responded to. And I just wanted to say that's incredible work, and thank you for keeping our community safe.
And they had a nice presentation of the open house.
Yes. That's all. I move to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Moved and second to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Move to Mayor's presentation, proclamation, communications, and resolutions. Presentation by Monterey Salinas Transit, Michelle Overmeyer.
Oh, actually.
You can go here if you like. That's easier.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Hello. Michelle Overmeyer. I'm the Director of Planning and Innovation with Monterey Salinas Transit. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here this evening. I have my presentation on the screen. I'm not sure how to share it. There we go. Thank you. And then I can control it from here? Okay, people behind the curtain. Okay. Next slide, please. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Monterey Salinas Transit, I'll give you a high-level overview of the services that we provide. We provide bus transit service for people that are going to work, school, healthcare appointments, shopping, and other destinations. We carry nearly, I'm seeing the next slide here, but I'm not seeing it up there. It's not showing the second one. It's skipping a slide for some reason. Okay, well, you're not going to see the map. Our service area is generally Monterey County, but we also provide service up to Gilroy Caltrain Station, Watsonville Transit Center, and Paso Robles Transit Center. I was saying that we carried nearly 3 million passengers in the fiscal year that just ended. A $2 bus fare is valid for 2 hours on MST's service. So if you need to transfer buses or just make a quick round trip, it's free if you do it within 2 hours of boarding your first bus. We have a partnership with Hartnell College, Monterey Peninsula College, and Cal State Monterey Bay. So students at those schools can ride for free if they have a valid student ID. And yeah, you don't get to see the map, but you can check out our website, I guess. I think it should be on the online presentation. So MST is governed by a board of directors. There's 13 members. They're comprised of 1 member from the County Board of Supervisors and then 1 appointed member from each of the city councils in the county. And Mayor Pro Tem Rodriguez is your representative for Greenfield. And I'm sorry that I have your name misspelled on this slide. I'll get it corrected. Again, it seems to be skipping slides here. Yeah, it's missing every other slide for some reason. Oh, there we go. Okay, this is the one I'm trying to show. Thank you. So we survey our bus riders every 2 years. You'll see results here from the last 3 surveys. The vast majority of bus riders are low-income and minority populations. 77% of bus riders have an annual household income under $40,000. And people use MST because they have no car available to them, they're unable to drive, or because the bus is cheaper than driving. Next slide, please. Thank you. 60% of bus riders reported they don't have a car available to them. In that same survey we did last year, 20% of passengers said they wouldn't take the trip if MST wasn't available. So in other words, 20% of bus riders would miss work, school, or medical appointments if it was not for the bus. Next slide, please. So MST serves Greenfield in 3 ways. This slide here shows our line 23 that goes through town along El Camino Real. It's a fixed route. Line 23 generally operates 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. With more frequent service during the peak commutes in the morning and the afternoon. It's a full-size bus and it operates 7 days a week. The second way we serve the city is door-to-door on-call service for the general public. So anybody can make a reservation and get picked up at home or work. And the on-call is for travel within the city. It operates weekdays only, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then the third way that MST serves Greenfield is paratransit. And paratransit is another door-to-door service. Individuals have to qualify based on a physical or cognitive disability. Next slide, please. So from January to September of this year, there were over 44,000 boardings within Greenfield on line 23. This slide here shows the passenger boarding locations on the left, and on the right are lightings where people get off the bus. The most popular place to board MST is near O'Reilly Auto Parts Store, which sees about 51 passenger boardings a day. And the most popular place to get off the bus is near Meade Memorial Clinic, with about 41 passengers per day getting off the bus there. Next slide, please. So like I said, MST operates a general public on-call service within the city where anybody can get door-to-door trips with a reservation. This on-call service has experienced a steady decline in ridership over the years. We're currently carrying about 35 trips a day in Greenfield on the on-call service. In August of 2021, the MST Board of Directors approved converting the South County on-call services to separate in-town fixed route local routes as the South County cities have been growing. They were to be consistent with operating schedules generally 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. across all 4 cities, dedicated bus stops, and timely connections to the Line 23 for anybody who needs to get in or out of the city. So since April 2021, MST's been working with each of the cities to get these fixed routes rolled out. Because the South County fixed routes are advancing in each city, the MST Board of Directors voted to discontinue the general public on-call services at the end of this calendar year. I just want to note that the paratransit service is still going to operate, so those people that have the physical and cognitive disabilities that qualify for the door-to-door will continue to have that service available to them. Next slide, please. So new bus stops that we put in have to meet the Americans with Disabilities Act requirements, which can make it tricky to identify ideal locations that don't require the cities to implement expensive sidewalk improvements or upgrades. For safety reasons, bus stops have to be located where there's adequate space that's clear of any obstacles or parked cars, so the bus can get in and out and safely board passengers. So after the previous actions by the board of MST, we've been working with city staff to identify locations within Greenfield that have the least impact to residents and business owners while still providing quality service to your residents. So this map here shows the locations of the 11 new bus stops that are going to be installed in your city. The service will operate in a clockwise rotation, and the bus will come every 30 minutes. So the green dots are the locations for the new bus stops. Next slide, please. The Greenfield fixed route is something we've been working on for several years. And this slide and the next shows a summary of some of the key events that have taken place. Next slide, please. MST and city staff are working through the design details of each of those bus stops that were shown on that map. We'll be submitting the final plan set to the city next month, and then MST can go out to bid for a construction firm to do the work. And we anticipate that the new Line 33 will be ready to operate in the spring. But because the general public on-call service will be discontinued at the end of this calendar year, MST will begin notifying those individuals that use that service that it will be coming to an end. So this new fixed route is going to be a great addition to the city. It'll support your city as you grow. You're building more housing, more commercial developments, and MST looks forward to continuing to support you and adding more services to the city. Next slide, please. And that is it. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Michelle, thank you very much for your presentation there. I did have a question. See, you've got the schools covered, downtown covered, but I'm a little concerned there's no stops along by Santa Lucia Square, where the market is and Rite Aid. That's along the north side there. You don't see any stops there, and I think that's probably one of the big areas that there's been a lot of transportation, a lot of calls.
Can you
That's
give,
on Walnut Avenue.
oh, on Walnut? Okay, so, and this is like where the new development is going in?
No, it's where, right across from the elementary school, right along by the freeway.
So we have a stop going in on Walnut,
That's on the other side.
on the other side of the freeway. On the east side, we're going to be putting in one where the Greenfield Commons project is going in right now, so it's going to be east of Third, East of Third
That's
Street.
quite a ways from San Lucia Square. San Lucia Square kind of sits right next to the freeway there. You see Highway 101, like kind of by where your red arrow is on that map.
So I'd say that we can work with city staff on putting that in as a location once this circulator is up and running. We'd have to work with city staff to make sure that we're all in agreement on the location. Like I said, that when we put in new stops, we have to look at the sidewalks. They have to be a certain width to meet ADA standards. We also look at driveways. We don't want to be stopping right next to a driveway. So we can work with city staff on identifying a future location there.
Okay. If you could, that would be great. I think that's really, that's a whole there. So, we could maybe take it to stop somewhere where that's at, so. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I did it, my laptop just said, go back to, I mean, pull it up on my phone, I was trying to do it. Oh, I wanted, Michelle, can you share with us how you said, MST is gonna be contacting drivers or riders or notifying them, of the change and that gap in service, and what are the ways that MSU is doing that?
Sure. So the general public on-call is going to end at the end of December. So about 6 weeks before that, we're going to be getting the word out. We'll put the car cards, is what we call them, they're advertisements inside the bus that passengers will see when they're going in. And then anybody who calls in to make a reservation within those 6 months leading up, or 6 weeks leading up to it, we'll tell them on the phone, just to let you know, the service is going to be ending. There are other services that MST provides, I didn't talk about it in my presentation, but we do have van pool service. So if people are interested in being paired up with a van pool for commute to work, that might be an option.
I know a lot of our residents use the on-call for getting their kids to school. If they live far away from the school, would that, the van pooling option be an option for just getting them to school?
No, it would be more for workers, yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking anyway. Paul, can you share if there has been anything further after your discussion with the general manager about anything for the potential gap, or has that progressed, I guess? Has that conversation gone anywhere after that?
So I did have a discussion with Carl Sidorf, the general manager, related to the gap. And in just kind of brainstorming, we talked about the potential possibility of an extension of the service. Don't have anything new on that yet. We've also discussed just the possibility of maybe the city doing something related to providing, limited services. And we can talk about that as we flush those out.
I do want to say something about that, but I think Councilmember Ortiz has a question.
I did have a big concern about the gap, and I had a meeting with Ed this morning telling him, if we can come up with an idea if it's not able to be extended, if we can come up with an idea to keep those services going. I am at the Magnolia apartment, senior housing, quite a bit. Morning to night. So I do see a lot of the residents are using it, to go to do whatever they have to do. Sometimes it's very late at night that they're getting rides. I'd hate to see them having to walk or, or lose services or, make appointments or anything like that because of the gap. So, I'm glad that there is a discussion to see if maybe it's extended, and if not, if we can come up with a different solution mainly for our seniors at Magnolia and our other facility.
So I'm wondering if you're seeing rides buses. The rides is the paratransit, and that's going to continue to operate the door-to-door service. And that the hours mirror what we have on line 23. The on-call doesn't operate late into the evening today. So it might be the
I see a
paratransit.
bus out there and somebody dropping people off in the nighttime, and I thought it was the on-call.
Okay, it might be the paratransit service, so that'll continue operating.
That'll continue, okay. But again, just so that the residents at both of our senior facilities, especially them, that they're made aware of what's happening and what, what other alternatives are for them to be able to get around. I really appreciate that.
That's Magnolia and Los Ositos.
Yeah.
Magnolia, and what was the other one?
Los Ositos.
Los Jacintos? Okay.
Thank you very much for your information. Hopefully we get further clarification, but thank you very much for giving me some information.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to City Council business. K1, adopt a resolution of the City Council, City of Greenfield, accepting the audit service agreement with Harwell and Company, LLC, in the amount of $42,500 fiscal year 2023, $44,400 for fiscal year 2024, and $46,395 for fiscal year 2025. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a relatively straightforward resolution request. We have gone through the process of having bids for audit services, 3-year contract. We had 4 respondents. We interviewed 3 of them, and we selected Harshwell and Company from Oakland and San Diego. And the staff report showed a pretty detailed breakdown of what they would be charging for the 3 years, fiscal year 23, fiscal year 24, and fiscal year 25. The amounts are between $42,500 and $46,395. We'll take care of all of the individual audit requirements that we need to address. Currently, we're spending around $38,000 to $42,000 with our current auditors. And so this is just a request to accept the services agreement with Harshwell and Company.
Okay. Any public comment on item K1? No. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council comments, review, and action. Any questions from council?
I move to approve.
Just gonna say, is it stipulated in their contract that they would be like 4 years late or 3 years late?
Yes.
Yeah, there are time constraints, yes. Thank you for asking.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. K2, consideration and discussion of a resolution establishing planning commissioner compensation. Staff report, please.
This will be short. At a previous meeting, Councilmember Ortiz asked that the City Council consider the Plan Commissioner's compensation. Currently, they receive $50 per month if they attend the monthly meeting. And so staff did a small survey of local cities that are about the same size as the city of Greenfield to determine how much they pay their Plan Commissioners. And if I recall correctly, Soledad pays $150 per meeting, whereas King City and another city, I think, don't pay anything at all. So based on those numbers, the city staff is recommending that the City Council not raise Planning Commissioner compensation, but I'm available for any questions.
I think Soledad's $50 also, I believe, if I recall.
Oh, it's $50.
Gonzalez is 50.
Oh.
Gonzalez is 50, King City is 150, the other 2, no compensation.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry about that.
Most of the committees that we attend as council usually pay stipend of like $50, so I'm kind of, with budgets as tight as they are, kind of lean towards leaving it the way it is.
Well, I did talk to,
If I could just interrupt,
Go ahead.
are you going to open for public comment? or-
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Public comment on K2, please. Seeing them now, I'll bring it back. Okay, comment? Go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
since I'm the one that brought this up, I think the way I read it was that the last time it was it implemented or changed in 2005?
Yeah, that was implemented in 2005 and hasn't changed since.
It hasn't changed. Since I'm the one that went ahead and brought this to the council, I'll explain why. I attend some of the planning commission meetings and I watch them online. I think we're very fortunate that we have a really good, strong planning commission. We've had one for quite some years now. They ask a lot of questions. They do an excellent job. They attend their meetings. And I just think that it's appropriate to raise it. My initial reaction was to raise it to $100. I did talk to city manager to find out if that would create some sort of hardship or cause a financial distress on the city, and he said that it won't. I'm not asking to increase to 150 nor 200 or anything else. I'm asking for an increase of $50. I do believe that we have an excellent planning commission. The packets that they have to read, yes, sometimes their meetings are on the light side, but when something is really important that's coming up, they do an excellent job. And I just, obviously, I don't see a harm in raising it 50 if it's not going to cause any financial problems for the city at all. I know that we do have budget issues on some things, but again, I talked to Paul, city manager, and he said that shouldn't be a problem. And I hope that the rest of the council can see that we have an excellent planning commission. And I believe that they should be compensated. You hear everywhere else in other cities that are raising city council stipends that, you know, it's an incentive to get other people to join the council, to join different committees. And I think it's important that we have that there for them. So that's what I'd like to say, that I would really hope that, you know, we can show some appreciation here and do what's right and at least raise it the $50 to $100. And of course, that's only if they attend the meetings. It's not for missed meetings. Thank you.
I agree with Mayor White. I think that because we looked at what other cities are doing, we're not unique in how we're compensating our city commission, our planning commission. And actually in what was found is that in some cities, it is a true 100% public service that the commissioners are doing. So, you know, with still recognizing that we have hardworking people on our planning commission who do the work and of course ask the questions, but as public servants or for public roles like this, that's what we're signing up for. I personally didn't know there was even a stipend involved with council until Ann broke that news to me, which is nice that there's, you know, a small stipend, but that's not why we get involved. That's not why we do this. We do this because we say we care. So, you know, and I would do this quite honestly without the stipend because I was doing it. I thought I was signing up to do this for free. So I think that it needs to stay where it's at because that is, you know, based on what all other cities are doing, we're not exceptional. We need to fall in line with that. I would be more comfortable with those extra funds going to the public, not the public people who have signed up to be of public service. And that's me.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I want to reiterate that, you know, I appreciate all the work that they do, and they do work hard, but I do think, you know, the $50 is okay for now, especially with all the tight budgets that we're facing. We have a lot of programs and a lot of things that we want to take care of, so I kind of recommend that we leave it at 50. So. Right, is that enough direction?
Yep, that's great.
All right, we'll move to item K3, a resolution of the City Council, City of Greenfield, establishing the position of Community Economic Director, amending the associated salary schedule, and to supplementally appropriate $12,300 to fund the position through the remainder of fiscal year 24-25. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, the City of Greenfield employs a community development director. And this position is currently led by Paul Moody. Currently, the development of the city's economic efforts is the responsibility of the community development director. In established smaller cities, there are relatively fewer opportunities to expand economic assets. And the model of having a community development director handle the relatively smaller task of economic development is very common. Greenfield used to be one of the smaller cities. It no longer is. With the establishment of the cannabis industry, the development of the Long Avenue specific plan, and the focus on the remodeling of the community rock corridor, Greenfield is in a growth mode and is looking to substantially increase the amount of economic activity over the next few years. Anyone who's acquainted themselves with this community's periodic project analysis is aware that both in the community development, which is residential housing, and building and economic development, business growth, Greenfield is a current regional leader in the overall community growth. In a more active community, an economic development director develops and spearheads the implementation of economic development programs in the city. It's their responsibility to perform market research and analysis, develop strategies to help the city in building positive relationships with businesses and potential economic partners. As well, they're responsible for managing and directing staff, encouraging and improving project goals while implementing policies and statements. And listed in the staff report, a list of 10 to 12 job duties and responsibilities that are currently being handled by this division. It's a big task, and we all know, I mean, we've seen that packet that he puts out, and it's project after project after project. It doesn't happen there will be times when there will be smaller amounts, but there are going to be times we were talking about, I mean, we've already hit our reading numbers for self-employed. We've got pretty much projected to cycle 6, a 6-year period already, and that's just regulation. In the meantime, we've allocated hundreds of thousands of dollars to get an economic development plan put into place. It makes sense for us to reclassify a community development director to economic community development director, and at some point in time, actually expand his staff to have assistants that actually help him organize that. The budget and financial impacts I showed, and I compared them to 4 plus comparables: PC, Pacific Road, Soledad, Salinas, and I have one number of salary range for Monterey County, just the economic development part, which is the less expensive of, but we also have a community development. And right now, the lowest part of our range is, I'm going to say, significantly lower than the rest of the comparables. Let's see, we are at $129,000 for annual salary. Big City is $145,000, Pacific Road $149,000, Soledad $150,000, Salinas $153,000. The high end of the range, Big City is at $195,000, PG is at $200,000, Soledad is at $170,000, and Salinas is at $100,000. What we propose to do is to move our step 1, the lowest of the range, to an average of the 4 other cities, and then proceed with our standard 4% per step increase for the 8 steps, for the next 7 steps in the range. This will result in a salary range of $149,000, about $150,000, up to $197,000 with the 8 steps. And I would propose to start Mr. Newman in step 6. He's been doing this a long time. He's got a long career behind him, and it would require supplemental appropriation this year of about $12,400. We have had some salary savings, and I will be doing, I think, November 5th, we'll do a first quarter analysis of revenue and expenditures, and you'll see some of the salary savings by having not hired some positions from July 1 to September 15. So with that having been said, I'm open to taking questions.
First, I'll open up for public comments on K3. Seeing no public comments, I'll bring it back to council comments, review, and action. Questions, comments?
The proposal of step 6, what would that be in a percentage increase, like over what the current earnings are?
What he's currently making, so he's currently making, he's at the highest step. It's about a 7 or 8% increase. I don't remember exactly what it was. My intent was to make sure that he's incentivized for the next few years. Well, we've got this bevy of activity that's going on. We want to make sure that we don't have to worry about things in the near future. There's also, what we've done the last 3 years is also COLA adjustments for non-represented people. So those would also be factored in, but that's a package thing that we do at one time during the course of the year. So I think it's about a 7 or 8% increase.
So initially it would be, if we pass this with starting at step 6, start of a 7 to 8% increase, and then each step after that would be an additional 4%, the standard 4%.
Yes.
My other question would just be, does Mr. Mugen have the bandwidth to take on extra stuff, even if some of this is already, like on his plate and he's doing some of this work, right? But I was going to ask about, does this mean that there's going to be a future ask for additional positions to support that side of things? But just as one person having a full role, and yes, what we already see being rolled out in a ton of work, we also don't want to just assume that additional responsibilities that we would then be expecting because we reclassified this position, that it's a lot for one person to oversee as well.
Right, and it's a great concern. The fact of the matter is, though, he's already performing these additional tasks. As the point of the first part of the staff report is that people that in communities our size are kind of tasked with the community development and economic development. And it's a matter of, yes, we're reclassifying this, but those tasks that that are being added to the job description, he's already performing. And to your second part, yes, I believe he at least needs an assistant to help him keep the administrative tasks straight for him, make sure his calendar is appropriately done. And it keeps him from doing a lot of things that he might be doing now that he probably should have other staff do. He is training and working with an associate planner, Ms. Mesa, and she's coming along. He's got now 2. How many inspectors do you have, Paul? One inspector, and then you've got a building official as well. And we're pretty confident that they're getting their jobs done. And so at some point, there is already a budget for a senior planner. And I think we'll want to get an assistant for him probably mid-year. But what changes tomorrow because of this reclassification really isn't a whole lot. I mean, certainly the salary changes. Yes, absolutely. But as far as what he's responsible for, he's already responsible for it. Just by virtue of it, this just kind of makes it more formal. And it kind of puts everyone on notice that, yeah, that that packet that we get of all the development that's going on, well, that's economic development and community development, and it's a lot. We all agree. People that have looked at it. We had mayors looking at it at our mayor meeting, at your mayor meeting, ours, saying, that's amazing how much, yeah, it is amazing how much is going on. So it's really, this is to kind of reflect reality of what's going on. It is different. I mean, we know that all the cities are growing, and that's a great thing. All the cities in the valley are growing. Greenfield is growing, I think, faster, I think larger, just because we've got the capacity to grow larger. And I think it's just real important that we've got a professional who's done this before. He's done it here before, economic development. I think it's important that we recognize that, reward it, and also set a standard for, yeah, this is what we're expecting to do. And to right-size that salary, because it isn't as competitive as the other salaries.
Councilwoman, do you have any questions?
No.
How is this position funded, Paul? Is it?
Yeah, so it's, right now, it would be funded through salary savings in that area, as well as these inspectors and building official. That's coming in less expensive than what we were expecting, so we could probably move money into there. The $12,300 that we're asking for is unfunded, so I'm thinking that the total increase is going to be around $20,000 a year, and $12,000 of it would need to be new funding. And then as we move forward into next year, we'll have to figure out how we balance the budget with the additional, I'll say 20,000-ish for the new year.
Does any of this come from fees and things like that?
That's a good question. Paul, do any of your duties, are they offset by fees at all?
No. Okay. No. Okay. All right.
I do want to move to approve, but I want to explain a little bit of my rationale, because I think when the public in general hears we pass, a pay raise for, especially when it's somebody, an admin or somebody at the top, it's sometimes frowned upon. Why are we spending money like that? But in looking over this item and the research that I did, I looked at those cities that you provided the information for, the comparisons, and King City, Pacific Grove, they have a population of about 15,000. And that was based on like the 2020 census. Even as of 2020 census, we had 18,000, which we know is not accurate, obviously, for probably a lot of our South County cities, but we already are working with a bigger population, and we are still on the lower end even of those cities. So even just to get, kind of on par with those smaller cities, we would still be looking at a raise. So I do think that it's appropriate, being that to be proportionate to the size of the city you're overseeing. And yes, I think that what we're doing in our economic and community development, even if it's not a formal title right now, has been amazing. Our city is growing a lot, and so I am in favor of this, and I move to approve.
I also support the increase. We're very deep in a lot of different projects and a lot of different things that are going on, and Paul wears a lot of different hats, so I wouldn't want to lose him. I'm going to keep him in place, so I would also support this. So, I have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? I will go ahead and second the motion. Motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Motion passes. I didn't hear you. Sorry. I heard you. You had your head turned the other way. Sorry. All right. All right. We'll move to K4, City Council vacancies. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor White and City Council. The city's been waiting for the Monterey County Superior Court to issue a writ declaring the September 12th, 2023 District 1 Council appointment of Drew Tipton null and void. The city has not to date received that writ. However, on October 15th of this year, Mr. Tipton did resign his position on the City Council. effective immediately on October 15th. So the District 1 seat is now vacant. When a city council seat is vacant, the city council is required to fill the vacancy by appointment or by calling a special election within 60 days of the vacancy. However, the District 1 seat is already on the November 5th, 2024 ballot because the appointment was scheduled to expire this year. So there is really no need for council to take action to fill the vacancy or to call a special election. The purpose of this item tonight is really just to inform you, the council and the public, regarding the status of the District 1 seat, but I am available to take any questions.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the K4 up for public comments. I see one hand raised.
Beatriz Diaz.
Hi, good afternoon. I think that the attorney said it perfectly. I was gonna comment on why we needed, this vacancy, on the agenda. But thank you, attorney. I agree with you. All vacants, all district will be filled after the election. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I'll bring it back to council comments, review, action. There is no action is to provide direction. I tend to agree with council. I don't think there's any reason to do anything more with this. I think it was more of an information item.
I have a question about once the writ is signed, then does that, what does that do for the resignation? And it's not a resignation of a position that wasn't legally held, right?
I mean, I haven't done that analysis. I don't know that it's necessary unless that's something council wants. Just in that he's gone and someone new will fill the seat. So I don't know, like in terms of the effect, I don't think there's a legal effect. I can do some research if that's the council's direction. I just can't imagine what exactly it would be, if that makes sense.
I didn't understand her question.
I'll let Councilmember Rodriguez reiterate.
So we know that the judge has determined that it was an illegal appointment, but the writ has just not been signed yet. So when the writ is signed, then it's fully, on the table, it's fully legal that the appointment was not legal. So if that council seat wasn't being held legally, then you're not resigning a position because the position was deemed to not legally be yours. So I guess well, because if we're addressing somebody as a council member for this part of the year, I guess that's what I'm getting at, because if that position was, we're gonna have to redo votes, there's gonna be more to this, then there has to be some acknowledgement that it's not the position was resigned, it's the appointment was illegal. And I think language matters, and we need to say what it was. And that's what it was, the appointment was illegal. It's not a resignation. I mean, he did choose to resign on the day he resigned, but that is not gonna be the reason that he's not here moving forward. I guess I just want that to be clear.
He resigned, it's over and done with.
Well, you can't resign a job that isn't yours, I guess is what I just wanted to say. It's
beating a dead horse here already.
Councilmember Ortiz, with all due respect, I feel that I have a right to state my opinions up here. And, well, you're snickering while I'm talking, and that's unbecoming of our seats up here.
I'm not snickering. I'm
Okay.
just saying, that's it.
Thank you.
You can take it your way, I take it my way. Hey, we're okay.
Okay.
What I'll suggest is that we do wait for the writ, just so that we know exactly what language is in it. And then from there, maybe council wants to make a statement as a body as to what officially occurred, if that makes sense. Yeah, from a legal standpoint, you're right, we will do some ratification of votes at one of the upcoming meetings. But I think although words matter, it is semantics as to where we are now. But let's see what the writ says.
Very good. So you have enough direction at this point?
Yes.
Very good. All right. We'll move to K5, a resolution of the City Council, City of Greenfield awarding a public works construction contract in the amount of $1,034,166 to Anderson Pacific Engineering Construction Incorporated for the Walnut Avenue pedestrian and bikeway improvements, project-based bid, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute this contract and assign additional work in accordance with this resolution. Number 2, approve a CIP budget transfer of $286,073.36 from the 12th Street Drainage and Pedestrian Improvement Project. And 3, supplementally appropriating $73,094.64 to the CIP project from traffic impact fees. Staff report, please.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. Apologize, I can't be in person tonight. I'm out of town at a conference. So I did want to present this staff report to you. Walnut Avenue is a primary conduit for pedestrian and bicycle traffic. The volume of pedestrian use on Walnut Avenue will likely increase as the Vines Commercial Center continues to develop and new housing development is built on the other side of the highway. The project includes the construction of sidewalk and ADA accessible ramps along the north side of Walnut Avenue from El Camino Real to 3rd Street. The project also includes signing and striping of a designated bikeway between 3rd Street and, I apologize, that shouldn't say 12th Street. 2nd Street. The TAMC of Monterey County awarded the city $590,000 in competitive regional surface transportation program funds to the city for partial funding of the proposed Walnut Avenue pedestrian and bikeway improvement project. The balance of the project costs are to be borne by the city. City Council on June 12, 2024 approved a project in the CIP budget to complete these improvements in the current fiscal year. And the project was publicly noticed and an invitation to bid was issued in September of 2024. We received 5 bids in October, and the bid amounts are in the table in the staff report. The apparent low bidder was Anderson Pacific Engineering on their base bid at $1,034,166. So staff reviewed each of the bids for conformity with the requirements in the bid documents. And based on that review, it was determined that Anderson Pacific was the lowest responsible bidder. The awarded grant funds can be applied to the construction costs only. All other costs, including additional construction contract costs, project management, and construction inspection, are to be paid from traffic impact fees. Construction management and inspection are anticipated to be under $72,000. The work for this job is approximately 90 working days, or equivalent of about 4.5 months. And the expenses will be paid from the same funding sources as the construction contract effort. The project includes pedestrian improvements that traverses over US 101 via the Walnut Avenue interchange, which has already been permitted with Caltrans District 5. The permit is ready to issue. It's just awaiting the contractor and the fees. The expenses are for the Caltrans permit and their respective inspections are expected to be $25,000 or less. The grant, as far as fiscal and budget impact, the grant provides construction funding, design, survey, permitting, and construction management costs are the responsibility of the city. So the costs actually go beyond the RSTP grant. And we're proposing to take the funds from the traffic impact fees that we have, and also the remaining budget that was left over on the 12th Street Drainage and Pedestrian Improvement Project. So we have stated proposed budget in the table below. The total for the contract for Anderson Pacific, again, is $1,034,166. The contingency of $82,500, the Caltrans permitting of $25,000, and construction project management and inspection of $72,000. So the total project cost would be $1,213,666. And you can see on the following table where the funding is proposed to come from. So the existing CIP budget is just under $855,000. $590,000 of that is that RSTP grant. So staff would also like to transfer unspent budget funds that remain from the 12th Street capital project that we just completed and accepted. The amount in that project left over is $286,073.36. And then also approve a supplemental appropriation for the remainder that is needed of $73,094.64. And that would be appropriated from our traffic impact fees. So staff is recommending the City Council to adopt the proposed resolutions, and I'd like to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you very much. I will open this item up for public comments on K5.
Good evening. I just want to say thank you. We just talked about this at the forum, and it's like amazing how quickly you moved on this. So thank you on behalf of all the people who really want this. Thank you.
Looks like we have one hand raised.
Beatriz Diaz.
Don't know what happened, but I wasn't going to comment on this one right now.
Okay.
But thanks anyway.
All right. Bring it back to council comments, review, and action.
Just to be clear, it's only under 74,000 that wouldn't be coming from a grant or just transferring from a remaining budget.
Yeah, it's coming from the impact fees.
Okay.
Yeah. This is something we've been working on for a long time. The community's been asking for a long time, so I'm really happy to see this going on. I hope they understand that when we do start the project, that is going to create some traffic problems over there for a good 3 to 4 months, but we need to get that done for the public safety. So, I'll entertain a motion on item 2024-131.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing to report.
City manager report.
Just that we went to the couple of council members, city attorney, and I were at the League of California Cities annual conference. Had a great time. Went to a few very interesting sessions. One was on AI and misinformation. So as we kind of roll out whatever we're going to use for AI, and we're not quite sure about that yet, we just need to remember it can make stuff up. And just to be wary. But also, I also attended a session on transparency portals. So I know our accounting information, all of our books will be available probably in the next 6 months online, and that counts as a transparency portal. So can't wait to roll that out. That's all I've got.
Great. Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to close the meeting in honor of Alexander Correa. He was 19. He's from Greenfield, who was killed in an auto crash last Wednesday night. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting.